Greetings comic book fans and welcome to Dude's Comic Haul. I'm Jason and this is my weekly video where I share with you the new comics I picked up today and officially the best day of the week, New Comic Book Day. It was a massive week for me this week, 20 books. Every book is off my order and it's kind of that thing when I have such a big week, it's very rare I'll pick up something off the shelf as well, just because you've got so much already that you're spending. But this week was a week where there wasn't really anything else that caught my eye, so it was just a case of picking up my order. So without further ado, let's see what books I've picked up and what I'm expecting from them. So first up we have from Valiant, we have X-O Man-O-War issue number 39. This features a story called Exodus Part 1, kicking off a new story. I don't know what this is about, so that's going to be interesting. But I really enjoy it. X-O Man-O-War I think is one of my favourite characters from Valiant, so I always look forward to a bit of X-O Man-O-War. We then have Unity issue number 21. This is continuing the Warmonger story where we've got this character and her kind of superhero abilities to be able to cause trouble and start wars. And the issues, past few issues where she's taking out Unity one at a time because she sees them more weaker separately than together. So she's taking them down one by one and giving her backstory as she does it. So we're learning how all these wars in the past of how she's took them down, and she has a lot of history with Eternal Warrior, which that's going to be a good confrontation when we come to that. But yeah, so I've been enjoying this story and look forward to see. I don't know if this issue if she's taking on which member she's taking on, whether she's taking on Eternal Warrior or if she's taking on X-O Man-O-War, so we'll see. Then next up we have Bloodshot Reborn issue number 5. This was supposed to be out last week, but my comic shop got changed on it from Diamond, so it's coming this week instead. Which that's the great thing about having an order in my shop, is that if it's not out the one week, it's automatically still in my box. So that's really cool. I've been enjoying this. This issue seems to have a lot more blood squirt in it, because like you've got like. What I'm liking, what Lemire's doing here, is the human body and the human mind is very fragile. So he's going through at the moment, he's hearing voices, he's seeing other people, and he doesn't know if it's something the Geomancer did to him, a side effect of that, or if it's a side effect of losing the nanites. Because if the nanites repaired his body, they might have been repairing his brain, and with all that he's been through over the years, it would have an effect on your brain, and the nanites might have been keeping all that in check. And I find that a very kind of interesting idea, so I'm really liking what they're doing with this at the moment, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. We then have part 1 of 5 from Titan Comics. Sorry, it's the Doctor Who event of the year. The 4 Doctors, written by Paul Cornell, who has written episodes of Doctor Who for TV. But yeah, my comic shop, they saved me the variant cover, which is really nice of them, so I was really chuffed with that. It's going to be a weekly event, so I'm looking forward to this, because in the main I really enjoy the Doctor Who books, and to see all the books coming together, that should be an interesting kind of thing. Yeah, and that's something you can kind of pull off in the comics that maybe you couldn't pull off on TV. We then have Doctor Who, the 10th Doctor. This is issue number 14. I'm trying to think. I'm sure we finished off the last. No, we haven't. We're with that story with the alien, aren't we? Who's taken over the actress? Yeah. So this should be. I imagine this would be the conclusion of this story, but we will see. We then have Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor, issue number 15. The story's kind of been one story since the beginning, and I've kind of been a bit fed up of it, but I felt the last couple of issues it's come back stronger. Last issue's really interesting as the TARDIS rejected the Doctor, and that was really interesting, and the Doctor kind of questioning him, is what is he without the TARDIS. And so yeah, I really like that, and I'm really interested in where we're going to go, because it ended with the cliffhanger of the Doctor's mother now has the TARDIS, and so that's a really interesting idea. So I'm really intrigued to see where they're going to go, because I think this is like the last issue of this arc. I think we don't have any books then this month. Yeah, I think this is the last book of this arc. I think we've then got for this month we've got the mini-series, the 4 Doctors mini-series, and then next month I think in September the books are kind of relaunched, as kind of like year 2 kind of deal. So this should be the last issue. So it seems like from last issue there's a lot for them to do in this one issue. It'll be interesting how they pull it off. Moving over to Marvel, we have Star Wars Lando, issue number 2. I enjoyed the first issue. I like the tone of the book. They crammed a lot into one issue. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Lobot. He's a character I've always wanted to know a bit more about, but I never, you only get those little bits in Empire. So I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen with this. Is this series going to end up with him like taking over Cloud City, or are we going to end at some point before that? So it'd be interesting to see what happens. We then have, getting into Secret Wars, we have Years of Future Past, which I've really been enjoying this series. It's been really good. I felt last issue kind of felt a bit disjointed because you had them dealing with all this family drama, and then they suddenly decide that the best way to deal with all this is to kind of try and do a breakout, which all went wrong. And that kind of felt a bit disjointed, but I'm still really enjoying this, and from the cover it looks like we're going to get a bit of Wolverine action, which is always good. We then have a Planet Hulk issue number 4, and this book's been good. It hasn't kind of blown me away, but it's been an enjoyable kind of action romp. It's not a patch on the original Planet Hulk, and I think sometimes when you attach like a well-known name to a book, it kind of it burdens it because people expect it to live up to the name, and that can be difficult. But last issue, there was some good stuff. I'm sure that they got captured at the end, but I might be wrong. But yeah, I can't really remember right now what happened. I remember we had, I think I'm getting this mixed up with Weird World. So I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure they got captured though at the end of last issue. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, it starts out with that, so I think I'm pretty certain they got captured. Yeah, that was it. We had the tribal Hulks. Yeah, I'm getting it now. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to more action in that. We then have Master of Kung Fu number 4, the final issue. I've really enjoyed this series. I like Shang-Chi as a character, and I think that this has been kind of how they've imagined different Marvel heroes as like Kung Fu characters has been really cool. And Shang-Chi's had to go through this tournament because like so often the Emperor has this tournament where all the heads of the different clans kind of fight for the right to be Emperor. And kind of, it's a bit in a way, kind of some of it has reminded me like the plot to Enter the Dragon, some of it. So like Shang-Chi has fought his way through this tournament, and now he's kind of against Iron Fist, who Iron Fist has a big grudge against Shang-Chi, because I think Shang-Chi killed his former master. So Iron Fist wants to get revenge, avenge his master, but Shang-Chi wants to fight the Emperor, his father, to kind of free King Kunlun from the tyrannical rule of his father. So there's a lot going on here. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to seeing they're going to finish it all up. We then have A-Force issue number 3. Last issue ended with, I think She-Hulk was transported somewhere else, and in Battleworld you're not allowed to go to the other areas. The fours are immediately on you, so that's going to be really interesting what's going to happen to She-Hulk, because she just went through a portal, she didn't know where it led, so it's going to be, the consequences of that are going to be very interesting. We then have Secret Wars issue number 5, which I don't know why, but it feels like ages since we had a Secret Wars issue. This issue was $3.99, but it feels really thick. It's got one of those advert things, that you kind of fold out. So I don't know if that sometimes makes it a bit thicker, feel a bit thicker. But yeah, I've really been enjoying Secret Wars. I've really been enjoying this series, and I'm definitely intrigued to see what's next. Because last issue, Sheriff Strange got killed, so what are the consequences and the fallout from that going to be? And Doctor Doom now knows that the Reed Richards from the 616 is still alive. How's that going to affect Doom? He's been keeping this world in check. Are things going to start falling down? Is he going to get obsessed with getting Reed? And yeah, so I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen in this. We then going over to Image. We have Injection issue number 4. I managed to pick up the first 3 issues, really enjoyed them. It's one of those tales where I'm not quite sure where everything is going, and I think it's one of those books that may read better in trade as like a collected kind of story. But it's definitely very intriguing, and I'm looking forward to seeing how all the pieces are going to join up and where everything's going to go. But it's been a very intriguing series so far, and I've decided to jump on board. We then got Descender, issue number 6. Last issue was the best issue yet, and this series really came alive, and I'm super excited because the end of last issue just changed everything up, and I'm really excited to see where we're going next with this. This was really great last issue, sorry, and this will be near the top of my pile this week. We then have Green Arrow, issue number 43. I've been enjoying what they've been doing with the story, getting it back to like Green Arrow in the streets. That's been brilliant. I felt like the last creative team on this book kind of tried to make it too much into the TV show, and kind of the new creative team have kind of come in and they're doing their own thing, and I'm really enjoying it. And to have like characters like Nico back in it, I've been great. So yeah, I've been enjoying this. Another book I've been enjoying from DC, it is Constantine the Hellblazer. Last issue, Constantine kind of felt he could deal with the situation himself. It caused the death of a ghost, a friend of his from childhood, who's now completely been erased. He's not even a ghost anymore. So John has to kind of deal with now. He needs help to solve what's going on with these ghosts being killed, and I'm really interested to see where he's going to go. One of the highlights always from DC whenever it comes out is the Batman, issue number 43. I've really been loving this series as always. Last issue kind of surprised me that they brought Bruce Wayne back so soon, because we've got Bat Gordon now, and I thought they'd kind of let the Bruce Wayne thing go for a while, but he's coming back into it already. We've got this new villain that I'm really intrigued to find out more about, and yeah, always one of the highlights on my pool. We then have Superman Action Comics, issue number 43. What I'm really liking right now about the Superman books are all dealing with this one story, that Clark Kent is now known in the world that Clark Kent is Superman, and he's lost most of his powers. He's not as strong or as souped up as he used to be. And I like that each book is kind of dealing with a different aspect of this. Superman Wonder Woman is dealing on the effect of what's happened on Smallville. You've got the Superman book that's going back to the beginning and showing us how this came about, how the situation came to be. We've got Batman Superman, which is dealing with the new relationship between Bat Gordon and an outed Superman, as there's mistrust on both sides. And with this book, Action Comics, it's dealing with Metropolis, the area of Metropolis where Superman lives. And we have this particularly unpleasant police officer who has the riot police, and they're going to go into Metropolis, but the people are kind of protesting. This is our neighborhood, we've done nothing wrong, and he's a bit heavy-handed, and he's trying to goad Superman into kind of striking him, which he does, and kind of now we're going to deal with the fallout of what's going to happen. The world has seen Superman strike this policeman, and it's going to be what's going to happen from that. There seems to be more going on here with that police officer, and I'm really intrigued in where it's going to go. And I've really been enjoying it. The added bonus is this is written by Greg Pak, who I just absolutely love the way that he writes Superman. So really great stuff, and I'm looking forward to this. I feel like DC has struggled with writing good Superman, but I feel over the last year, I think a lot of positives have happened, and things they're getting it more right than wrong. We then have Batman Superman, issue number 23. Last issue, Superman, like we found out the big bad was a character that had been in Action Comics when Greg Pak had started his run on that book, and Superman knew he was responsible for this, so he was trying to deal with the situation, and Bat Gordon attacked, and the guy from the thing thought it was an ambush, so Supes has gone after this guy to kind of chalk him down, and it's going to be interesting how Bat Gordon is going to fit into all this. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and seeing this team up has been a lot of fun. This new team up. And my final book this week from Dark Horse Comics is Harrow County, issue number 4. I've really been loving this book. It's really good. It's kind of like a horror vibe. It's about this girl. She's 17, and she finds out that she was born from a tree, and that this village where she lives, they killed a witch, and the witch says she should be back, and because she came out of this tree, they think she could be the reincarnated witch. And so, because she started having these dreams, her father took her out, he was going to kill her, and kind of she managed to escape. And the kind of trauma of this, learning that, like, not only is your father not your father, but also that he was going to kill you. This guy that you've spent your life with and growing up with was just going to kill you. And so she's dealing with all this, while at the same time you've got all this other stuff going on. Like where she's running off to isn't particularly a safe place. The forest where she lives is quite haunted. So it's been really good so far. All the different elements coming together have really made it a fascinating story, and I'm super excited to see what's going to happen to her next. You can always tell a good book by how quick you get to care about the characters, and I'm totally invested. I cannot remember her name, but I'm super invested in what happens to her, so I'm looking forward to getting me some Harrow County. So those are my books for this week. I yapped on for quite a bit there, but there were quite a few books to share with you this week. I will be back most probably next week, Monday or Tuesday, with a review video. I hope you've all had a great new comic book day and you got the books you wanted. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody's picked up and what they thought about their books. Like I said, I will be back next week with a review video. Please, if you like the video, give me those beautiful thumbs up. Let me know you like what I'm doing. All that leaves me to say that I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to do here now. All that leaves me to say is that I've been Jason. This has been Dude's Comic Hall. Bye for now.